on the YouTubes. We are waiting for people to pile in. I hope you guys have had a wonderful week. This is something that I've been thinking about. I've been pondering if I should do something like this, if I should do some kind of live stream for the folks out there so we can talk about Cyberpunk. I know this isn't the normal quality that you guys are used to, and some days most days it'll be like this. It'll be me in a car at work at a job site and wanting to burn an hour or two talking to the community about Cyberpunk because that's what I like to do, and it's one of my favorite things to do. I got another screen right here. Let me. God damn it. I'm trying to. Is there a way to turn off the video? All right, no, I can't. So this thing is gonna pop off. All right, screw it. I'll just close this then, and just use my regular. What's up, AB? How you doing, man? Thank you so much for the support, dude. I really appreciate it. Welcome. Yeah, so the intention of this stream. Ah, shit. Hold on. I'll be right back. Is there a way to mute? Yeah, mute microphone. I'll be right back as everybody piles in. Let me go see. Let me go talk to the boss. He just rolled up. All right. Sorry for being. Let's see. Can I see the chat? There we go. What's up, Neelis? How are you? Yeah, sorry. I had to talk to the boss. He rolled by. I'll probably have to do this every time. Um, I don't usually have like an hour or two. Sometimes I have like an hour or two where I'm at a job site in the morning where I can do something like this unbothered, but it's not guaranteed. So, yeah, the boss had to just come by. Anyway, yeah, the idea of this live chat is just to connect with you guys on another level, to talk about Cyberpunk, to give you guys tips on your campaigns. It's really hard to give you guys ideas through text and like explain concepts. And I feel like this is a great way to connect with you guys so we can talk about um, the best things to do for your campaign, the best ways to deal with the mechanics of the game. That hair right there. Got it. It's my wife's hair. Got it. Best to deal with the campaigns and stuff like that. Homebrew. I mean, whatever we want to talk about. Stuff that's in the news. It's anything that we want. It's whatever we want it to be. That's the magic of the internet and these kind of communities. No one can tell us what to do. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And moving forward, we'll just keep doing stuff like this. I want to do this at least once a week. I want to do it every Monday because it's a great way to start your week. Just have a little bit of a live chat with the community. I'm not sure if I'll be posting the VODs. It just depends. Maybe if we talk about something worth posting about, then I will. But other than that, we'll see. We'll see. I might post this VOD and then see how people feel about it. This hair is like stuck to every single part of my body. I'm trying to get rid of it. Jesus Christ. Oh no, I don't want to get this guy in trouble. I'm in his car. He's gonna go home to his wife and go like, whose hair is this? Anyway. Yeah. I hope you guys have had a great week. I've been doing a shitload of homebrew. I owe you guys a video. I need to make a. My next video is going to be on Foundry VTT and Cyberpunk because there's two systems out right now. What's up, Ekarin? Nope, I'm not stealing this car, but who knows? I might. I might just like decide to go all Cyberpunk and steal the car. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of world building, preparing for the Patreon games that I'm starting, preparing for the Wise Guys campaign. If you guys follow me on social media and stuff, you saw the artwork. And I'm really ramping up. If you guys want more information on my campaign, I would recommend checking out my podcast where I talked about it. Is there any way I can... Oh, did I just like my own video? I think I did. Whoops. I'm trying to... I think I just liked my own video. I was trying to hide the something, but whatever. I like it. What's up, Chuckler127? How you doing? Welcome. And welcome, everybody. So yeah, the idea is I've been doing... I need to do a video about Foundry VTT and Cyberpunk. There's two systems out there. One is available through the direct way to get it. And then the other one, you have to have a link for it. And the one that you have to have a link for it, in my opinion, is the better one. And that's what I'll get into in the video. But AB Coats, let's talk about questions, because this is what it's all about. What do you do about NPC ammo? I'm fine tracking armor, ablation for NPCs, but I struggle with ammo. I honestly don't bother with figuring out what kind of ammo they have, because NPCs and combatants, when you guys are fighting, their job isn't to run out of ammo or for you to track what they can do. Their job is just there to challenge the players. So they're supposed to be there as an obstacle for the players, to threaten the players, and the players won't give a shit whether they have 3 magazines, 2 magazines, one gun and one bullet in their gun. All that stuff is inconsequential when it comes to NPCs that you're having combat with. So I don't track their ammo. This is all my opinion, of course. And in fact, the only thing I might track is like special ammo. I might say they have like 3 armor-piercing rounds and stuff like that. And the only time I'll ever track ammo is whenever the players are looting the bodies and they go, or I'm running low on ammo. Like, what kind of ammo do these guys have? And then I'll roll 2d10 and like divide it by two. I don't know. There isn't really a science to it. Maybe 2d6 or 3d6, and whatever that number is, that's how much ammo they have. I'll just do something on the fly to try to figure that out, because that's my way of just giving them the loot that they need. But yeah, I don't track ammo. I don't recommend it. I run red and roll 20. I track their ammo on their individual token. That said, John not tracking their ammo is also a fine way to do it. Yeah, you can do that too. You can track their ammo. The problem is it's too much bookkeeping and it slows down combat. And the last thing you want to do is spend too much time on each turn. The best for it to feel like it's aggressive and dangerous, and things can change at any moment, you definitely just want to keep moving. And if you have to track their ammo, armor ablation, HP, um, and all kinds of other stuff, you have to pick and choose which are the ones that you want to track, how much time do you want to spend on it, and stuff like that. I will say though, Foundry VTT, the system that I like using, which is called Red Core from the Project Red, I think that's what they're called. They have automatic tracking of ammo in the character sheets. So that'll take care of it for me if I want to do that. But basically, I just give all the NPCs a bunch of ammo, because that's what you're going to do. You're going to roll up to combat with like 3, 4 magazines. You know what I mean? That's like something that almost everybody will do. So I just keep that in mind, like common sense kind of thing. That while food and vehicles are scarce, ammo is something that people do not want to run out of, because without ammo you can't get food and stuff like that. Oh, does Foundry support Cyberpunk Red already? Can you get into details on what feature it has? Yeah, they definitely support Cyberpunk Red. There's there's more than two teams working on a system, but there's two prominent teams. The third one that I know about is like just a personal team of coders that are making it for themselves. But the two are Gerdo Falls system, which is officially supported in Foundry. You can find it there. And then there's another one that I think is far more superior, and it is called the Red Core system. And that is not officially supported, unfortunately, because it's a mess. Artel Sorian has to give them permission for it to happen, but Girdofall had uh, permission because of the jumpstart kit, and then he like switched that jump. He like transformed the jumpstart kit to the core red system. So he kind of like skated by with that permission and used that permission. I think his system is great. I'm using it for my Baby Beard Media game, the Corporate Infestation. If you guys watch my actual plays, I'm using it for that system. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay too, by the way. And I think it's cool. I think it could be better. The UI could use changes. There's a lot of automation that's not there. The problem is Girdofall's doing everything on his own. He's getting like zero help, like maybe one or two people helping him, and not that much. While the other one is like a group of like 15 people, and they're all okay. Good. I'm glad you guys can hear me, and they're all doing an amazing job. I've been personally watching their growth as they work together, and it's like amazing the kind of stuff that they're doing. So highly recommend that. And stay tuned to my channel because I'll be making a video on that soon. I'll show you guys all the cool things that it can do, stuff that will be available in the future. And yeah, I think Foundry is far superior to Roll20. I know that there's like that whole like the game master has spent $50. What's up, Twiggy? But it's well worth it. It's well worth it for what you can do. So I'll get deeper onto what kind of features you guys will be able to look into later on in a video that I'll talk about Foundry VTT. But it's great, man. It's great. It's gonna be really awesome. I try to avoid Roll20 because of the stuff that happened between them in the past. Yeah, I saw that shit. Some weird shit. It's definitely odd. Uh, that whole controversy and stuff like that. I've also messaged the people at Roll20 to see if they could do any like official support for the dice mechanic of the exploding dice. They said no, it's not. They're not gonna do anything about it. They said if enough people want it, then maybe we'll change it. But since we're a small niche community, they're not interested. I'm not going anywhere right now. I'm just at a job site and watching over. I might need to mute at one point to step away to talk to the boss because he just decided to swing by. But yeah, I'm just over here at a job site looking it over and stuff like that. I drive a truck and I watch over folks. So yeah, and that's pretty much it. That's what I do. Multitasking, exactly. Are you security or something? No, I'm more like a foreman for a construction site. What do you do for work if you're willing to share that? I work, what's up, Bookshelf of Babel? Nice to see you. You've always said some really nice things, and I appreciate the support and kind words. Um, I work as a driver, a truck driver, and we do demolition, roofing demolition. So it's been raining these last few days, so we didn't work. This is our first time back in like a week, which is crazy for us. But yeah, that's it. That's what I'm doing. So I'm over here. I used to actually work on the roof and everything, and I've graduated to being a driver. So, what recommendations do you have for GMing a game for D&D expatriates? The group I GM CP Red for actually complained there weren't staple D&D rules like opportunity attacks and like. I mean, it's a different system. It's a different game. D&D does it one way. Cyberpunk does it another way. Chaosium does it a different way. Hold on one second. I'll be right back, guys. All right, ladies and gents, sorry about that. Duty calls. Rip and pepperoni. I'm not gone. Don't worry. I prefer no opportunity tax. It encourages people to move. Wake up, samurai. We have a roof. The ceiling is a roof. Oh yeah. So to answer that question, first of all, other than the fact that everybody does it differently, every game system is different, and it's their own imagination. If we all copied D&D, then we wouldn't have anything unique. We wouldn't have anything different. It would just be constant D&D clones. And I don't know about you guys, but I think almost everybody that I know is kind of sick of D&D and D and wants to try something different or is tired of the same rules and wants a little bit more granularity. So the thing about Cyberpunk is combat rounds last 3 seconds, and I believe in D&D, combat rounds last 6 seconds, which is double the amount of time. So that means that everything happens so quickly that it's really, there's only like one thing you can really do. In 3 seconds, the idea is because of the adrenaline and super transhumanism and all kinds of crazy shit that's going on, you don't really have a lot of time to make any decisions. So attacks of opportunity don't exist because there is no opportunity. It's moving too fast. The guy you're fighting is not the only combatant on the battlefield. There's also that guy shooting you, and that guy shooting you, and an explosion over there, and then this guy charging you. So like walking away and moving away from each other and stuff like that, those attack of opportunities are not necessary. You don't need them. And it you just have to, the problem with people that come from D&D, which is not a problem, but what I mean to say is that they have to unlearn all the things that they learned in the old system and be accepting of this new one. And if they think it's stupid and it's dumb, then maybe the game's not for them. You know, maybe they should just go back to D&D and be used to what they're good at. But if they're willing to give it an opportunity and just give it a chance, and like, it's okay to say, hey, why is there no attack of opportunity? And it's okay for the answer to be, because this is a different game. This is just how we do it in this game. And if they can't accept that, then they just have to decide whether it's something they want to do or not. Do they want to be a part of this game? Do they want to play it? And if they're willing to play and move forward, then it's like, yeah, that's just how it is. All right, Neelis, see you later, man. Take care. Sorry, I think there was another question. Thanks for answering some questions. What kind of homebrew do you have for small unit combat, and what kind of role playing ideas do you have for the fourth corporate war? Let's see. For small, I'm not sure what you mean by small unit combat. I'm trying to figure out what that means. You mean like when there's like less combatants? Maybe you can clarify on that. But as far as role playing opportunities in the fourth corporate war, you're talking about open warfare in cities between corporate security. You're talking about corporate secrets and espionage. You're talking about all the things that corporates would do, and you take all those ideas and you multiply them by 100. Like, they're not afraid of any police. This is war. They're at war with each other. This isn't conflicts. It's not battles. It's not tit for tat. This is full blown open warfare between the corporations. And basically, the police, if they're not paid by the corporations and corrupt, then they are actually trying to oppose these corporations. Then they are outgunned, outmanned, outskilled, outtrained. I mean, the police are not ready to take care of stuff like this. So if you want to run a group of edge runners that are just, living through the fourth corporate war, then I would have stuff like battles just happen out of nowhere, like big old firefights happening in the streets. And when you look, you're thinking, oh, is it two booster gangs? And it's like, oh no, it's Arasaka and Raven Micro Cybernetics fighting each other in open warfare. Or it's Militech and Continental Brands throwing grenades at each other from across two buildings. I mean, whatever, I'm just giving examples. And that's scarier than two booster gangs just shooting at each other, doing drive-bys, having no skill, and terrorizing each other. This is like two sovereign, military trained, highly trained, modern armies fighting each other. And usually the kind of collateral damage with that kind of stuff is very fucked up. So that's what I would try to convey, how dangerous and fucked up the fourth corporate war is. How it's just sad to see how deadly it is, how technology. I mean, if you guys want a good example, not good, as in it wasn't a good thing, but as in it is a good example to look at. The latest conflict in Nagorno Karabakh is I'm Armenian, so I watch the like Armenian versus Azerbaijani conflict very closely. and you got to see what modern warfare is like. Modern warfare is drone strikes, loitering munitions, and infrared, and you know, shit that like is was science fiction 20 years ago is now murdering people at an insane rate. I mean, there's videos of like Armenian troops like smoking cigarettes by a truck, and then they're all dead a second later. Like 20 of them, they're all dead. That's what modern warfare is like. It's precision strikes with zero mercy and all kinds of collateral damage. And I believe that the fourth corporate war would be very similar to that, except in a city setting, urban area, and that means that and they have no regard for life. I mean, it's all about the corporate agenda. So that's what the fourth corporate war is all about. And if you want to role play that, then it has to feel chaotic, it has to feel dangerous, it has to feel grim, and very 40K now that I think about it, Warhammer 40K style, except less skulls and religious stuff. Give me 1 second, my dudes. All right. Yeah, what's scarier? Two gangs duking it out, or tanks, mechs, and superhumans going all Avengers in the middle of the school zone? I know, dude. Yep. Where can we join a game on your Discord? There, if you go to our Discord, there's a roles channel, and you can grab one of the roles depending on what kind of game you like, and then that'll open up a looking for group channel for you where you can access it for the specific game. So if it's Cyberpunk 2020 or Red or other tabletop games, those will open up for you. And then just pay attention, see if people are posting games, if GMs are posting games. And then there's also two affiliate servers in our affiliate servers tab. One is Night City Stories that runs games constantly, and then the other one is the Distant Dark Future, I believe is what it's called. They run games constantly too. You should definitely check those two out and join their discords and see how you can line up to play their games. But they got games going on constantly. That's why we made them affiliate servers, because they are doing a good job of actually getting games going for people. As much as we try, there's so many things that get in the way for people to get a game going. There's the social aspect, there's time zones. I mean, there's so many things. The fact that Cyberpunk Red is a new game to a lot of people, so they would rather play it first before they decide they want to run a game. So that means that there's all these people that want to play and are not comfortable with running a game. So yeah, that's a big problem with the Cyberpunk community. My mustache is just not doing it today. I don't like it. I'll have to trim it up when I get home. Yeah, but that's it. Let's see here. Oh my God, how much did I miss? John, do you believe Reflex 8 bullet dodging can be too strong in red? I had a player starting character at Reflex 8 Evasion 6. He was able to dodge almost all attacks from non elite NPCs. Yeah, I'll talk about that right now. Uh, and then I'll get to yours, Steven. So basically, I was completely against the dodging of bullets, which actually, after some time and some people explained it to me, it's not dodging bullets, it's evading gunfire. So maybe you would homebrew that, like if they're in close combat with each other, that they can't dodge bullets. But as far as like evading gunfire, I can possibly see if you're like superhuman and you have cyberware and you're predicting where the guy's gonna point his gun, that you can dive for cover or move out of the way. There's a way to do it. I mean, obviously there's a game balance aspect to it. I wasn't a fan of it, especially coming from 2020. That was like a very realistic style of playing. But I'm more open to it now. As far as your players being able to dodge shitty NPCs, I think that's actually intended. So the idea is that your player, although they're a starting character, they're strong enough that chump NPCs and average NPCs are not going to cut it most of the time, unless the character, your player rolls a one, which is a 10% chance of happening. So there's a 10% chance that your player will not be able to dodge and get hit by a bullet, which is pretty low if you want to do any kind of damage. So what would I recommend? I would recommend that you up the level of competition for your players, because if average NPCs and chump NPCs aren't doing it, then you need to start sending more elite NPCs at them, because that's the response required to deal with them. So, like, for example, they make an enemy of a corporate, the corporate sends a booster gang after them, the booster gang gets wiped out. Well, now the corporate has new information. They know that if I send these guys, they're not going to be able to do the job. So I'm going to need to send somebody that is more able to handle it, somebody at the same level as these players. So the corporate now hires solos to go after them, and these are elite NPCs. And that's the type of enemies that your players should see if they're going to be going up against your combatants. There's also grenades. There's also all kinds of stuff. I mean, just make the enemies more skilled. Make grenades is a good thing. I'm trying to think what else you can do. Hitting them with the car. These are stuff that is hard to evade. So it's up to you how you want to do it. I told my players they couldn't dodge at one point, but now I let them do it. So yeah, that's it. Let's see, Glenn, what's going on, dude? Yeah, this is going to be a regular thing. I'm gonna try to do this every Monday, um, at least an hour or something around this same time, so we can do some cyberpunk chats. Kind of like commanding small units, say of 20 or 40 men, and sending them to do something to open up an opportunity of attack, say submarine or power grid or substation. All right, so Steven Odinson, that is actually there's a skill for that, and it's called tactics. If you look at the skill tactics in the core rulebook, it talks about this is the skill you need to operate and command small forces or large forces on a battlefield, which is exactly what you're talking about. So if your players want to do something like that, the rules as written, this is how you would deal with it. So you would say, okay, you want to command a small force to break into a corporate Arasaka tower or whatever, Militech tower. Fine. Now, as a game master, I have to think of a number, a difficulty value number of how difficult that would be. If it's something that you could normally do no problem, it's a DV13. Little bit harder, DV15. Little bit harder than that, DV17, DV20. So it's up to you to decide how difficult it would be, and then that player has to roll a tactics, which is intelligence plus 1d10 plus your tactic skill. And if the result beats your DV, then they succeed. If the result does not beat your DV, then they fail. And then that's when you, as a game master, determine how many of the people that went up against the corporation died, how badly they failed, and stuff like that. That's up to you as a game master. Is it kind of boring to just roll a skill check and figure out what happened? Yeah, you can add like a little bit of narrative twist to it and say, like, you send them orders and you had bad intel. You sent them to the back door. The back door had turrets that you didn't know about and electrical floors or whatever. You come up with something, and basically they messed up. Oh shit, we got a dono from somebody. Twiggy, thank you so much for the $5, man. I really appreciate it, dude. I didn't even know you guys could do that. That's awesome. Highly, highly appreciate that. Thank you so much, buddy. So yeah, narrative sense rather than depending on a hard set of rules. Yeah, yeah, I would also do that as a narrative thing. But yeah, basically that's the whole idea of what tactics does as a skill. That's exactly what you would want it to do. I would personally like to add something. Yeah, no problem, Steven. I love the community and I love everything that you guys do for the community too. and all the passion that you guys have. I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for you guys. So I really appreciate it. How do you think it mentioned that cars are way more scarce? How do you think big populations go about their day to day living? Yeah, man. I don't. There's two things that when we had our conversation, James and I really, I highly respect James and I respect his word and I admire everything that he's done. I love his game. It's my favorite game. But there's two things that we talked about that I still have not really wrapped my mind around. And number one is resale value. He said there's no resale value. Everything is a set number. If you pick up an assault rifle that's standard quality off the ground, it is worth 500 eddies. If you go to the store, you can sell it for 500 eddies. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if you can buy it from the store for 500 eddies and you just sold it for 500 eddies, how does the store owner make a profit? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Why would they even be in the business of doing it? So it just didn't make sense. That I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. He said it's a trade economy, so that means people just trade. It's not about just currency, but you need to. I don't know. Maybe the idea is, now that I'm thinking about it, that because you sold him the gun, now he's the guy that has the gun, and people will be like, oh, if you want to get assault rifles, you got to go here. So you kind of did him a favor by making sure new clientele can come in. I don't know. It's kind of a stretch. The other thing was vehicles. Him saying that there are no vehicles. People walk or they take public transport. And I thought to myself, well, how do people get around? How do they communicate with each other? How do they go to work? If you can only if walking was my only choice for work, I wouldn't have the job that I have, and I don't even know where I would work. I would work like at the corner store down my street because I can't go anywhere else. So is that what life is like in the time of the red, where people are like isolated from each other and not talking to each other? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And I didn't like it all that much either. Every piece of artwork and lore in the core rulebook showcases a ton of vehicles and flying cars. Yeah, that's why I personally decided to like homebrew some vehicles, and I know that there's somebody that just joined our Discord. He made like a homebrew vehicle list that's like very lore friendly. But I decided, okay, if vehicles are scarce and you don't really find them, and his argument was that if you give everybody vehicles and you make them available, then you're pretty much making the nomad class useless. And he's right, because at first when I first looked at the core rulebook, I was like, all that nomads get is a car. Like that's it. Like what's the big deal about a car? But now that he said like, oh, there are no cars and the only people that have cars are nomads and corporates and security and cops, so edge runners and normal citizens don't have vehicles, then I'm like, okay, yeah, that does make the nomad more important, but it also makes a world not worth living in my opinion, for having a bunch of vehicles that suck. So I decided to homebrew some vehicles into my games that are like 5,000 or 10,000. And these are vehicles that people like, for example, I decided that one of them is like a smart car in design, like the way it looks, and it's meant for getting around construction sites, not really meant for the street, but people stole them and modded them and stuff like that. And you see them all around because they're cheap and readily available to mod, because people need to get around. I mean, they just need to go, they need to move. And if you don't have any way to provide that for them, then they're gonna find a way. Human ingenuity, life finds a way, right? So yeah, it's one of those things that it, it requires a little bit more clarification, I think, from James. I'm gonna ask him about it because I'm really wondering what kind of world Cyberpunk would be if it didn't have any vehicles and if there wasn't any resale value. So yeah, my personal solution. Let's see. As a player, I'd probably dream of owning. How much did I miss? Not that much. Dream of owning a flying vehicle, and that would be my goal to own one. Yeah, and it's so expensive in the core rulebook to own one. My personal solution to vehicles is that most in the city are going to be junkers that aren't worth much and will probably need repair. Yeah, that's the way I see it too. Is like all those vehicles are probably old and broken down or modified from things that are not even vehicles. Like if it's got an engine and four wheels, then it's a vehicle in the time of the red. That's it. No matter what it looks like, how safe it is, or whatever. If it's got an engine and four wheels, it's a vehicle, and that's how people get around. How much is it worth? I don't know. He said there's no car dealerships. He's like, you can't just go to a car dealership. That all the cars that are available, the reason why they're so expensive is because fixers buy them off the bat and then resell them at a higher markup to make money, which is kind of contradictory of the whole resale thing not existing in the first place. He said the only people that can negotiate resale are fixers. It was a little bit, even after watching the video a little bit, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around it. So maybe I can talk to him about it again and get some clarification for you guys, and we'll talk about it in these live chats. I would imagine bicycles would make a big comeback. Really uncool thing, but if this is the world that's written, people make will make do. Yeah, bicycles, roller skates, fucking dog sleds, whatever. People need to get around, right? Hey, John, what is your favorite class to play? I think to play, I would say my favorite class would have to be Fixer or Netrunner to play. As far as my favorite class in the game is a tech because they introduce a mechanic which lets you homebrew any kind of item into your game or weapon or upgrade or whatever you want. Have given us the tools to make anything we want in our game, and we're only limited to our own imagination. So that's what I like about them. But all the other, they're all good. I mean, they all have their fun ways. The media would be fun to play. The corporate would be fun to play. But I personally like the fixer because I like to be the guy that knows a guy and to show up in a place and like high five people and have secret handshakes and shit like that. That's fun to me. Let's see here. Cyberpunk red servers are so toxic. Really, Crablord? I haven't experienced that at all. Where did you I honestly experienced the exact opposite, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. Needs more DACA if you ask me. Yeah, our Discord's really good, man. What is your least favorite class to play? Let's see. Um my least favorite class to play. I guess it would have to depend on the game master. If your game master is really combat focused, then playing any of the social, um, like media, corporate, or fixer, any of those classes or roles will be really difficult to play. You won't like get the opportunity to do that. But if you're, if it's the other way and your game master is more of a social game master, he likes the role playing elements, then solos and lawman, lawman is my least favorite. I think it really sucks, to be honest with you. It has the potential to be amazing if you roll 1d10 and the result is under your lawman. So you have to roll a uh 1, 2, 3. I think maybe a 4 as well. So you roll a d10, and on a 1, 2, 3, or 4, you can call in backup, and they'll come in to combat and help you in combat. Have I ever felt like my PCs needed help in combat? Not really. I felt like I needed help in combat as a game master. Maybe I'm not as challenging to my players as I should be. Maybe that's something I can revisit. But as far as like what they can do, narratively they're cool, but their mechanic is kind of lackluster. Nomad is also a little bit lackluster to me, in my opinion, because all they get is a vehicle and that's it. In 2020, they had the ability to call on their family to come and assist them, which was super powerful. I mean, it's ridiculously powerful. These are like devoted family members that will come and die for you. So they kind of got away from that because they're like, your family's not around. They're not there to help you at all times. So you can't just call them. But the lawman can call on local law enforcement, whoever they are. Even if they're not a part of that law enforcement, they can call on them because they have the credentials as a lawman, and they can call on them for help. But yeah, those two I felt were a little bit lackluster in my opinion. Maybe we'll see more granularity in them in later supplements, because I know for sure that in 2020, after supplements and books and stuff that came out, we got so much more goodies for all the roles. So much more. So I think it's just a waiting game to figure it out. Poor quality car would break down a lot, have less SDP, generally be a pile of trash. Standard cars are normal, while excellent would be faster and stuff. Could work. Yeah, more SDP, more reliable if it's in excellent condition and stuff like that, for sure. Give your NPCs the backup ability then. I do actually. I do give them the backup ability. I use it the exact same way. Instead of actually rolling a d10 to figure out if they can find, I just say, yeah, I'm just going to have people come in. I roll 1d6, and that's how many rounds it's going to take for them to come in. So I do that all the time. What about a nomadic ability to mod their vehicle or later in AAVs? Yeah, they have that actually. Nomads do have that ability. That's part of their role, is they spend some of their role points in or class points to upgrade their vehicle, which is cool. That can be cool. It's all on the game master. The game master has to make it available for it to actually be something cool. Like if you're playing a media, your ability is to find rumors, right? If I'm a game master and I don't give you rumors, or I don't design the campaign in a way where I take your role into account, you're not going to have as much fun because I'm not taking into account your strengths and weaknesses. So it's all on your game master. And if somebody's a novice game master to Cyberpunk, it might be a little bit overwhelming for them because it's like, this guy's a nomad, this guy's a media. Okay, I got to make sure I have vehicle combat for the nomad. I got to make sure I have net running for the net runner. I got to make sure I have rumors for the media. These are all things you need to take into account for the different roles that are going to be in your game. So it's all on your game master and how much they can take on. And yeah, I'm sure over time people will get better with it too. Let's see here. Stick around here, and you're sure to have a good experience. This community is very welcoming. Yeah, I'm sorry that that's your experience, Crab Lord. I haven't personally experienced any toxicity. Let us know the toxic servers so we can avoid them, man. Another XDND player of mine complained about the lack of healing in Cyberpunk Red. They just want it easy, don't they? Only medtechs can heal in the middle of combat. They preferred plentiful healing potions, magic, and potions. Yeah, man, no, that's not what Cyberpunk is. Cyberpunk is a grim, dark future that's deadly, and and in Cyberpunk 2020, there wasn't even a medtech heal. There wasn't that. This is a new thing that they added to the game to placate a little bit to the D&D people. They added it because they're like, people are used to healing potions and stuff. We got to give them a little bit of semblance of something like that. So why don't we have a med tech that once per day can heal them for their body plus will stat, and that's it. Otherwise, you got to go to a hospital, lay in a hospital bed, have an IV drip, surgery, and recover like real life. You know, that's what it's supposed to feel like. It's supposed to feel like after you get into a gunfight that you're diminished greatly in your ability to survive because you've been shot. And D&D is all about moving forward and slaying the next monster and slaying the next creature, and farming XP and farming loot and becoming more and more and more powerful, physically powerful, not narratively powerful, just becoming more powerful, more experience, killing all the bad guys, clearing dungeons. That's what D&D is all about. So of course, having magic potions and stuff like that is something you need. Cyberpunk is about survival, And part of survival is not being able to heal yourself, not being able to, or being at a disadvantage because you have a deadly mission, but you almost died in the initial gunfight getting into the building. Well, now you have to get through the building. Who knows what's ahead of you in the building? And that's the exciting part, is you don't know if you're going to make it. You don't know if your character is going to make it. You don't know if your character is going to survive. It really sounds like your players are not down with Cyberpunk. Because if they were down with Cyberpunk, they would be okay with all that. There is there it's the deadliness is what people are attracted to. When they hear like your character can die at any moment, that makes them excited, because it's like, damn, maybe I'm smart enough and I'm careful enough and will work as a team well enough that we can avoid the normal dangers. And when we get through a mission, we feel like we really did it. Like, to give you guys an example, in my Wise Guys campaign, the first thing they would do when they get to an area is collect as much information as they can. Where's the cameras? Who's got guns? Who's the bad guys? Who's the good guys? How many of them can we take? How many of them can we separate them from each other so that we can focus on two people here while the other two are all the way over there? They didn't see us. These are all like tactical. It's not just coming in and roll for initiative and just shoot everything in sight. You do that, you'll die. If you come in and you use your wit, your cunning, and you split the enemy, you fool them into thinking that you're a part of their crew, whatever. There's all kinds of crazy shit that you can do. And that's what Cyberpunk is all about. It's about what you do before you pull out your gun. It's not about what you do after you pull out your gun. Because after you pull out your gun, it's simple. It's just don't die. Before you pull out your gun, it's what are the things that I can do to make sure that I don't die. And that's it. So yeah, hope that answered your question. I think nomads are useful. I found that you a good vehicle to get to and from jobs. Sometimes you can't just take a taxi. Yeah, definitely in my new campaign, nomads play a big part. Having a vehicle is a big thing. So I'm gonna make sure that that's a big part of it. D&D often does a disservice to new players because it relies on outdated system norms, lots of game-centric rules rather than RP facilitating rules. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. Ekorin is, by the way, guys, you guys should go to Ekorin Role Playing and World Building. Go to his channel, support him, because he does awesome stuff for the community of all tabletop games. Healing half HP a day. Let's go. What's up, X Stout? How are you, dude? Are you still playing 2077? Nah. When are running red? Have you used any ideas from 2077 or keeping them separate? I honestly am keeping them separate. What's up, Talsorian in the chat? How you doing, Jay? Nice to see you, buddy. I enjoyed 2077. It was fun, but there was a lot of aspects about it that are great for a video game but terrible for a role-playing game. Like the net running, I'm not a fan of at all. If my players could do what you can do in 2077 in a role-playing game, it would just break the game. It wouldn't be fun. Um, what is there anything? I guess the only inspiration I really got from 2077 is the feeling of like, what does it feel like to be in Night City? And that's what I always wanted. I wanted to know, like, how does it look? How the immersion of it, right? Was it perfect? No, I don't think the game was fully ready to be out, and that's why the immersion was not 100%. But it was still really awesome to sit in an AV4 and drive past a bunch of billboards and see what an arcology is like, and see how people oops, and see how people deal with all the things that are going on in their life, you know? The side missions were cool. Brain dance was fucking awesome. I love that brain dance investigation shit that you would do. So there's a lot of cool aspects of it, but I like to keep them separate because I honestly think red is a I think tabletop gaming is superior to video games when you want to feel immersion, because they can do things that video games are limited to, that they can't do. Let's see here. To me, Cyberpunk Red is more RP and grimdark. Yep, I agree. Take cover or get religious. D&D 5e rules expect 6 to 8 encounters a day. If you have 6 to 8 combats a day in Cyberpunk, you're in trouble. Oh yeah, you're done. You're dead. Is like playing with a trainer. Yeah, D&D is combat based. All the classes are combat based. Yep. And just about every side quest in 27 could be turned into a full session. Yeah, the actually it was suggested. Jay has a good point because it was suggested. Hold on 1 second. I got a text message. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, somebody had suggested that there's a Cyberpunk 2077 guidebook. You remember like those old Prima guides? And they give you like a guide on all the side quests. It's a really good resource for side quests and missions for Cyberpunk Red. You just like literally take those missions, like some of those cyber psycho ones, like killing a cyber psycho or capturing them. That's perfect for Red and stuff like that. John, what are your general thoughts on the way the CP Red Core rulebook recommends giving improvement points? I think it's great. I think it's great that they offered a way to do it. I've never really found a reason to I've never found a reason to give my players anything less than the maximum that the chart tells you, or like around the maximum. I think the maximum's 80, if you guys can confirm for me. But I've found that I tailor my adventures and my missions and campaign to reward the players, give them high rewards. It is 80. Okay. So I want them to play missions that are worth 80 IP. I don't want them to do anything less than that. So I haven't found the need to give them anything less than 80 because I haven't given them anything less than worth 80 or the highest payout for jobs as well. I want every mission to be super dangerous. I don't want easy missions. I don't want anything that is like a gimme. I want everything to be tough. I want everything to be a challenge. And that's why I give them the max IP and I give them the max payout for their jobs. I hate to say it, but when I was really disappointed with 2077, I got good idea on the game primer though. Yeah, I wasn't completely. I had a lot of fun with Cyberpunk 2077, and I knew that. But see, this is the thing. I tempered my expectations with that game. As soon as I saw that it was winning awards before it had even come out, I was like, okay, there's something wrong here. The game's not even out and it has 1,000 awards. How is this even possible? So I decided I'm not gonna watch any teaser trailers or any hype videos. I'm not gonna watch anything. I'm staying away from it, and I'm just gonna objectively play this game on my own accord and enjoy it. And you know what? That actually worked out great because I had no expectations for the game. So the whatever product came from it, I was happy with because I was like, oh, okay, so this is what it is right now. Will it be better? Okay, in the future it'll be better. That's fine. I still have Cyberpunk Red to play. It's fine. And I'm grateful that Cyberpunk 2077 came out because if it wasn't for that game, then I wouldn't have this renewed interest for Cyberpunk Red and 2020, and I wouldn't have started my channel. So if it wasn't for that game, then I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. I mean, I'd be alive, but I wouldn't be talking to you guys. Do you give out IP outside of missions, like for RP? I've been considering doing that. Me to talk to a client, let me know. All right, I will, babe. Thank you. That's my wife, by the way. Shout out to Carol Amir, my beautiful wife. I will. Everything's fine. Um, Sorry. Do you give out IP outside of missions, like for RP? I've been considering doing that. I've been considering giving my players like 5 RP or 5 IP if they do something cool. Like, oh, here, take 5 IP on your character, you individually, because of something cool that you did. I've been thinking about doing that. I haven't really put it into practice yet. It kind of like how inspiration works in D&D, but instead I'm just giving you straight experience points. Because there's so many cool things you can do with IP in Cyberpunk Red. I feel like giving them IP per session is cool, but that they should be able to earn a little bit more on the side as well. Per session X'd out, I give them how many sessions is an 80 IP mission for you? The I give them IP depending per session, not per mission. So what I do is we have our session, and then I go, okay, what happened in that session? They got into one combat, and they found out a big secret about the investigation, a big clue. So they've moved the plot along. Okay, this is but they haven't moved it so far along. Like when we come back for the next session, we're gonna be in the same office that they're investigating. So they're not done investigating that office. So I'm not gonna give them that full IP. So for this session, I'll give them 65 IP, but that's because next session they're going to get the rest of that IP for what they're doing in that area. So that's all. I do that kind of thinking. I think logically, like how much have they gotten done to for their IP. But I award them per session because I want them to be able to feel like they accomplished something no matter what. Because they did accomplish something. So every session, I want them to be able to accomplish something. And keeping John happy. Also love your art. Yeah, she's awesome, dude. No, my wife is not into any like tabletop gaming. She likes nerdy stuff, like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Marvel Cinematic Universe, but she doesn't like collect minis. She doesn't play board games. She doesn't play video games. She's into makeup. She's into arts and crafts. She's into all kinds of stuff that I'm not like just stuff that I'm not 100% into, but that's what I love about her. I love that she's different than me. So she always gives me a look into a world that I have no idea about. I know nothing about the makeup world or the beauty world or any of their YouTube lives. So when she drops some knowledge on me about something, it's interesting, you know? That's what I like about it. And yeah, I don't need her to Cyberpunk makeover on John video when she's done makeup, special effects makeup on me before. But yeah, I don't need my wife to be into all the same things that I'm into. That's not what attracted me to her in the first place. So I like that we're both individually different. She supports what I do. She doesn't get it most of the time, but she thinks that like yeah, that's cool that you're doing that stuff. And she sees how happy it makes me and how much I like it. And she's supportive of my hobby, and that's all I would ask of her. I wouldn't want anything else. I don't need anything else other than that. Do you want to marry a clone of yourself? Things will get boring. I know. My wife is the same way, forever spectator. Yeah. She's just like, you happy? I'm happy. All right, good. John, even though Red's net running rules run a lot smoother in 2020s, I find that it still interrupts the flow of combat and slows things down in general. Your thoughts? It does. Net running does slow combat down, but it's I've found it to be fun if you get the other players involved in things that they can do. If you need to design your net architectures in a way where and have that whole net running thing be in a way where the players need to support the net runner. So, excuse me. If you're in combat and the net runner is in the net, then the enemies will know that, and all they have to do is just come around and shoot your net runner buddy. So your players and your net runner buddy, if they have control of turrets and cameras and smoke screens and all kinds of crazy devices, they can support the players. So the player, if you set it up the right way, the players are like, okay, we're at a disadvantage right now, but if we can help the player, if we can help the net runner in some way, they can in turn help us, and maybe we can be at an advantage in this combat. So they need to all like work hand in hand with each other, and you need to make sure that your net architectures have some sort of way where they can support the players. How does attacking a program with zero res work? Can I de-res Banhammer, or does it automatically res? There are specific programs that attack other programs, and some of them are like, which one is it? Is it Worm? One of them is it just destroys a random program on your cyber deck. So that's how you can destroy a Banhammer. Is it's a black ice program. That's what it is. It just destroy it straight up. You have five programs. You pick one of the five randomly, whatever way. Maybe one roll 1d6, re-roll sixes, and whatever result you get, that's the program that is destroyed. So if your Banhammer is the one, then your Banhammer is destroyed. And I think there's specific. If it has zero res, then I would say one shot destroys it. I would probably need to get clarification on that though, because that's a good question. I'm not really sure. Come out. They basically come out, take effect, then derez. Oh yeah, that's right. That's what happens with Banhammer. That's why they have zero res. Is they deactivate after they're used every round, so they're not there. The only way you can destroy them is with the black guys. That's right. Thanks, Twiggy. Not sure if you've addressed the lore development much in your videos, but how do you feel about Red's more run-down setting? Now a few months in, do you miss Old Night City? I kind of do. No, man. I played Cyberpunk 2020 for years. So I'm welcoming this new change to how Cyberpunk is supposed to be. I welcome it. I think it's interesting. I love the way that corporations have been diminished and that nomad organizations have been boosted as far as their reputation and how important they are to the setting. I love it. It's given me all kinds of inspiration to try new things. I think the scarcity is something that I'm not really interested in. Like the we talked about earlier, not vehicles not being around. I don't know, man. I think you can't have Cyberpunk without vehicles. You got to have them all over the place. You got to feel it's got to feel like a city, or else it feels or else it feels post-apocalyptic. It does. It's I want Cyberpunk. I don't want Fallout. And if there's no vehicles around and there's no city and there isn't people going waking up, brushing their teeth, going to work, and then coming back home with their vehicle or public transportation, then it doesn't feel like it's a city. It feels like a post-apocalyptic world. And as much as I like Fallout and those kinds of worlds, that's not Cyberpunk to me. So in my games, I make sure that those Cyberpunk elements are still there, but I still like exploring some of the post-apocalyptic stuff as well. So yeah, that's my way. New Mad Max setting personally. Yeah, you got to I like this is what I like. I like when you're in the city, it's a city. When you're out of the city, it's Mad Max. That's how I like to imagine it. So the people that are in the city, they know that it's Mad Max out there. And because of that, they want to avoid it completely. They don't want to be out in the city. They don't want to be like trying to be in the open road or the wastelands and try to survive there. They would rather stay in their city even if their life is shitty and they live in a storage container. Would you ever run a campaign where the players go to the Crystal Palace or other space stations? Yeah, once I get bored of my homebrew setting, once I get bored of that stuff, I'm sure I would want to check it out. I'm sure I'll check it. If there's a good supplement book or adventure book about going to space, I'll give it a shot. Why not? See what it's like if I'm interested in it. Can't have cyberpunk without hypercapitalism, consumerism, excess for the rich, squalor for the poor. I totally agree with Mad Max outside the city. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm the same. That's a great way to envision it. The city still being cities and outside being Mad Max. Yeah, that's how I envision it. And that makes people want to live in the city more, even though their living conditions are terrible. It's like, yeah, it sucks living in a storage container, but it's safer than living in a tent out in the wasteland or a cabin that I built because there's nobody there. No one will hear you scream in the wastelands. no one will help you. And maybe no one will help you in the city either, but there's at least a possibility that someone could help you. And you know that that corner store down the street usually has food, and you don't have to hunt for your own food or anything like that, and it's a lot easier to work with. My favorite thing about my setting, the Amber Oasis. Hmm. I would say, okay, hold on, let me take a sip of water. I've been talking too much. Give me 1 second, actually. Let me send a text message real quick because I am using my phone. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Did it disconnect for you guys? Are we all back? Everybody all good? I just want to make sure we're all back and all good first before I continue. Okay, good. So, my setting of the Amber Oasis, my favorite thing about it. I guess my favorite thing about it is the aspect that there's hope. That's what the Amber Oasis is. That's what Cyberpunk Red is all about. Cyberpunk Red is all about the hope that we can start new, start fresh, actually help people and actually become better human beings. And the Amber Oasis kind of embodies this whole sense of that it not all is lost. We're a nomad family that are helping other communities, even though they don't know us and they're not even saying thank you. We know that we're helping families, children, and communities, and that's a lot more. That's a lot more. I don't know. It's like a noble pursuit. It's fun to try to figure that out, and it's also fun to try to figure out how the bad guys want to ruin all of your fun, right? Ruin all the good things that you're doing. So, other than that, I do love the fact that the Amber Oasis has so many opportunities for role playing, for missions, for story, and I can't wait to explore it. I made kind of like a sandbox world to see what would happen. Later, AB. Thank you. Oh, excuse me. Let's see here. All right, Ekron, thank you so much for coming through, man. Take care. How often do you use characters from the lore in your games? Do you prefer to make all your own NPCs? I've never used any of the lore characters ever. From 2020 till now, not once have I ever used Johnny Silverhand or Rogue or any of them. I like making my own characters. I like making my own corporations. It isn't. I like. I don't mean make my own corporations. I still use like I do make them from scratch as well. But like if I use Biotechnica or Arasaka or any of those companies, the people in the lore that are part of those corporations do not appear in my games because I want everything to be brand new. I'm all about player experience. So I want my players when they come to the table that they know that it's going to be something that they've never seen before, that they've never read of or they never heard of before. It's going to be completely brand new. They have no idea what's going to happen and they're just along for the ride. And that gives them like this whole sense of wonder of like uh yeah, I know about Johnny Silverhand, and we all those things have happened. All those things are part of the lore, but they're not part of my main story, and they don't make an appearance because they're doing their own thing. I'm doing my own thing, and my own story has nothing to do with them. So yeah, I don't usually use any of them. Would you actually like to live in the red universe? Hell no. And would you happily lose a limb for some cyberware? That's another question. I would never live in the red universe. Hell no. It's terrible. It's everybody that you know is dead and you'll be dead in a week. That's how it feels. Um, it's a terrible life. Terrible, terrible life. Eating kibble and not knowing if you're going to be safe the next day. You can't even have a family. Like, where are your kids going to play? They can't just play out on the streets. They can't ride their bikes. I mean, hell no, dude. I don't want to have anything to do with that. But as far as losing a limb for cyberware, I don't know, man. I don't know. The question, that's the question, right? If you have if you have normal eyesight and I can tell you, hey, I can give you super eyesight, but I have to take out your eyes, do you want to do that? Like, do you want to be better? Th- This necessity of like becoming better is something that we're all obsessed with, but we're an innovative culture, right? Like the next iPhone has to be better than the last one. That's what our whole culture is about. So cyberware will be the same way. Humanity will be the same way. We'll start gene editing. We'll start, doing cyberware, and before you know it, what does it mean to be a human being? And I think that that kind of narrow vision of like always innovating and always becoming better can kind of diminish what it means to be a human being. So I guess the answer is no, I wouldn't lose a limb for cyberware. But if I happen to have lost a limb, I'm very grateful that there is cyberware, and that would be an awesome way to get it. What's up, DG? Love you, buddy. Make sure you guys check out DG Rage Riot. Follow his YouTube channel. We're playing Starfinder. He is Blackadder, my net runner, and he is the game master for a Starfinder campaign. How long do you hope to run your Patreon games? Forever. I'm really excited to start playing and have you be my GM, and hope it runs for a long time. I want it to run as long as it can, forever, in for perpetuity. And by the time we're a year into it, or maybe 6 months into it, I want to make a world book and hand it out to the community and see if they can run their own games in our setting that we have evolved and we have created ourselves. But the reason I made this setting, the Amber Oasis, and the area is because I want it to be something that is a potential infinite honeypot for gaming. Um, that's it. I just want to keep playing Cyberpunk. Why not? Let's see. Howdy doody, John. What's up, Goblin Fart? Played my first two sessions of Cyberpunk Red with an awesome group. Your videos were a great help to us to get us started. Been having a blast. Keep up the work, man. I will, Goblin Fart. I appreciate it. And you have an awesome name. I'm glad that my videos are helpful. I cannot wait for more and more of you guys to say the that you've been having fun playing Cyberpunk. It brings a little tear to my eye when a happy tear. Even how Amber Oasis got its name is great. I don't know if it's a spoiler if I said how it got its name, so I'm not gonna. No, it's no spoiler. I talked about it in my latest podcast, Tabletop Cyberpunk. I elaborated on how I started that setting, and I really appreciate that you like it. That means a lot to me. But yeah, that's it's no spoiler. It's a synopsis on why how they got started. It's just a history kind of thing. So there's nothing to spoil. If you're gonna play in my game, that's like the first thing I would have you read. How do you feel about mega corporate power being reduced in Red compared to how powerful they were in 2020? I love it. It gives it more flavor. They're more desperate. They're more willing to do things that they normally wouldn't do because they're desperate. The desperation of the corporations are great. It's good to knock them down because they lived their entire life and operated in such a way where they felt that they were impervious to failing and impervious to harm. And Red has turned that upside down and said, like, no, nobody trusts you anymore. All your shit is diminished. All these corporations are gone. So if you want to make it in the time of the Red as a corporation, you got to change it. You got to flip the script. You got to act differently. You got to come correct. Because if you want to make it in this world, then you got to do things completely different. And I love that about it. Guess I'm a forever patron. What are you looking forward to in Black Chrome? More details, just more stuff, like stuff that I can give my players, loot, more in-depth knowledge on concepts on, because they said that it wasn't just it wasn't going to be like a Chromebook where it's like a list of items that you can, because that's what Chromebook was. It was like a catalog of cyberware, gear, weapons, and stuff like that. But in Red, Black Chrome is also going to have that stuff, But they said, but it's also about how you can acquire those things, which I'm interested to see what their idea is on that. Because if you guys saw my economy video with James, one of my questions was, how do fixers operate? How do night markets operate? So if they are going to go more in depth on that, then I'm all ears. I want to hear about it. I miss 2020 and the crunch. Red is soft. Yeah, I mean 2020 is still there if you want to play it. Excuse me, it hasn't gone away, so you don't have to miss it, man. You can just play it. It hasn't gone anywhere. I remember you asked my question about more enemies, creatures, robots, and bestiary. So I'm hoping Black Chrome has that. Yeah, yeah. I asked. They said they're not gonna have like a bestiary. I don't know if it's bestiary. I want to say bestiary, but I think it is bestiary. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna have something like that per se. It would be cool to have like a book of NPCs or whatever, but I'm not sure exactly how they're gonna do it. Players always like the new stuff. Yeah, well, I mean, new players do, but there's old grognards that like the. Is it bestiary? I don't know. I've heard people say bestiary. I've heard people say that. That's where I'm confused. But yeah, I mean, there's still people that want to play 2020. I know plenty of people. I know plenty of people that only play 2020. They never stopped playing, and they'll continue to play it. So you just gotta find those people. Good luck. Or maybe give Red a little bit of time. Let people play it. If they don't like it, they'll go back to 2020. You know, I don't miss it. I'm probably never gonna play 2020 again. I mean, never say never, right? Even though I just said it twice. I love Red. I love everything about it. Blastieri. uh, I like moving forward. I like the quality of life changes. There's some things that I miss from 2020 for sure, and I'm hoping that later supplements deal with it, or I might just homebrew it myself. But there's enough of red that has got me intrigued, and that I would never, not never, I wouldn't. I'm not going back to 2020 for a long time. That's basically it. Um, there's just so many things that red did that made it so much better, like a cover system that isn't so gamey. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't fully explored the cover system, even though I'm more knowledgeable about it now because of some concepts that Talsorian has introduced to me. But I don't mind the gaminess of it. Like, okay, if any of you guys play Warhammer 40K or any kind of tabletop war game, it's all gamey. It's all rules. There's rules for everything, and the good thing about that is more rules means more opportunity for tactics, more opportunities for choices. But the bad news is there's too many opportunities, there's too many choices, and there's too many things to remember. I remember when I played Warhammer 40K, like for the first 5 games, I had a cheat sheet that I needed to look at. So I knew, like, what can I do, you know? So that kind of granularity can be bad sometimes. But I get what you're saying. There are a lot of aspects of Cyberpunk Red that feel like a game and don't feel realistic, but I'm okay with that because after all, it is a game. So as long as it works, as long as it's balanced, then and there is enough opportunity to for nuance, I'm okay with it. The whole stab a metal wall with the knife 10 times and it breaks and can't be used as cover is pretty gamey. Well, the we to explain what happens there is, remember the binary rule of cover, right? You If any piece of your body is exposed, you're no longer in cover. So the idea is you did enough damage to that metal door or metal piece of cover that you have rendered it useless as cover because portions of the person that are behind it are exposed when they're standing behind it. So the cover is still there. Uh, the cover's still there, but it's not. It's useless as cover because it's not protecting them. And my buddy said, "What happens if I hit a car with a baseball bat?" And I go, "Well, whatever damage your baseball bat does, that's how much damage it does to the car." And he said, "I can destroy a vehicle with my baseball bat." And I said, yeah, you can. I mean, you could. Will it be able to drive? Probably, likely. I mean, you're not going to do any damage to the engine block, but you could still destroy a lot of the vehicle. Will it still be drivable? Yes. Will it blow up? No. But it is weird that you could just take a baseball bat and render a vehicle disabled. Maybe you can homebrew that you can't disable a vehicle with a melee weapon, but I don't know. That's I've never even had to come across anything like that. I was thinking about house ruling cover as all or nothing to break it. In other words, cover has a set HP value. If you damage over the HP value in one shot, it breaks. If not, it's not scratched. Yeah, no, I think that's rules as written. If a piece of cover has 50 HP and you do 49 damage to it, it's still got it's still got 1 HP. That means it has cover. If you do 51 damage to it, then it no longer is a good piece of cover. It exists, it's still there, but it has a bunch of bullet holes in it and lacerations in its material, so it's no longer a good piece of cover. And that's rules as written. Quick glance, yeah. Mike was watching the elevator scene in The Matrix when designing the new cover system. I don't even know if Mike really designed the new cover system, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't miss the math of cover. SP makes actually playing much smoother. Yeah, there was too much math in between it. That was the problem. Can you hit a home run with a car IRL? What? Yeah, the that was the problem with 2020. It was too much dice rolling. It was too much where do you hit? How much damage do you do to the limb? Are you stunned? The damage tracker. There was too much bookkeeping, and one turn of combat took ages, and it didn't feel like it was fast paced. It felt realistic because like after your turn ended, it's like okay, you shot the guy in the arm, his arm is gone, and he's stunned and fell to the ground because he failed his stun save. So that's what happened. So narratively, as I explained to you, that what I just explained to you takes like fucking 15 minutes, 10 minutes to figure out, especially if you're new to the game. Maybe I'm over exaggerating, but in Cyberpunk Red, it's way faster than that. So I don't miss that about 2020. I hated it. And some people even went deeper and homebrewed rules where, like, if you hit them in the head, do you hit them in the teeth, in the nose, in the eyes, in the ears? And does that mean that they're deaf, blind, mute, or can't smell? Or, it's just fucking too much to deal with. But what is something from your economy talk with James that you don't agree with besides the lack of cars? The resale value. And it doesn't come off rude, dude. I anytime I have a criticism for Cyberpunk Red, it comes from a good place. It's not from me wanting to talk shit about it. I know that there's people out there that, and I'm guilty of this for other games in the past too, where you just want to talk shit for the sake of talking shit because of frustration. But any of my criticisms for Cyberpunk Red are coming from someone who says that it's his favorite game and actually cares about it. It's my favorite game and I care about it, so I want to know. So yeah, the resale value thing was something I just didn't understand, and I didn't know if it was my ignorance of the economy, but the fact that it just you pick up a gun off the floor that's worth 100 eddies, and you go to the store and you go like, I want to sell this, and the store owner says, okay, 100 eddies, and then you look up on the shelf and that same gun is worth 100 eddies on the shelf. So that leads me to believe, how's this guy making a profit? He's just selling me the gun for the same price that, like I basically gave him, he's losing money because now he has to he has to pay someone to stock this item. He has to pay an employee. He has overhead, whatever it is. So I didn't understand that aspect of it, but James said in a trade economy, if you have something that they want and they have something that you want, then you just trade. I get that. But what if they're like, yeah, no, I don't need your gun. I have plenty guns. I have plenty of guns. And unless they can feel like they can make money, where they're like, oh yeah, I'll take that gun. I'll buy it from you for 50 eddies because I could sell it for 100 and I'll make 50. Then that makes more sense to me. Cheers for constructive criticism. Yeah, that's right, DG. How do you do any martial arts homebrew? I don't do any martial arts homebrew, and I've contemplated if I should rework the entire martial arts system from the ground up because I am a martial arts enthusiast. I love MMA. I watch UFC. I watch Bellator, and I just love MMA and martial arts. I grew up on Jean Claude Van Damme movies and Enter the Dragon, and Who's the Best? What was it called? The Best of the Best. Steven Seagal. I mean, all that shit. I loved that shit growing up, and I love that stuff. I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions about martial arts that we have learned from movies and shows that in practice are not actually real, and I think some of those ideas, unfortunately, have gone to Cyberpunk Red, which I'm okay with. It's not like a major criticism of me, but when I look at the martial arts in Cyberpunk Red, it feels a lot like the 90s martial arts movies, which were cool and awesome and like special moves. But to be honest with you, like karate has a flying kick, so does kickboxing, so does Muay Thai, so does Kung Fu, so does Taekwondo. A kick is a kick. There's different ways and techniques that your body to perform the kick, to gain leverage and momentum and be able to do damage to specific body parts, and that's where the technique comes in. And also, like, after your kick, where do you land so you're not a victim of a counter attack? There's all kind. That's the technique. That's the granularity of martial arts. But as far as a flying kick only being available to you if you're a karate master is very video gamey, very martial artsy, as far as like the '90s movies and stuff like that. But a kick is a kick, a punch is a punch, a choke is a choke, a slam is a slam. And some martial arts do it better than others. Some martial arts focus on it more than others. They're the aspects of martial arts that make them different from each other are how they execute strikes, grappling, control, foot movement, head movement, blocking. The all how they do all those things is what makes them unique and different. That's my martial arts rant. uh, I feel HP values are just about right. Okay, would you homebrew your own resale value? Yeah, I'm just gonna add like I'm just gonna do what I think is logical. Like you have a 500 Eddie gun, you sell it for a little bit less. That's it. Mike has very 1980s view on martial arts. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely it. But I don't blame him. You know, a lot of the stuff that we've learned about martial arts is super recent, like within the last 5 to 10 years, because of MMA and martial arts tournaments and UFC. We've realized what works. There's certain things that really this is just what works in combat. Like if I want to kill somebody with martial arts, these are the techniques that work. There's techniques that don't work. They just straight up do not work. And because they leave you exposed, they don't do enough damage, and it's really just tradition over actually doing something. So that's what we've learned over the last few years. Have you played Red with any ladies? Yeah, I played D&D with two ladies last year for the first time, and it was without a doubt so much better than the previous years of games with just guys. Yeah, I played with Taylor Price from the Con Save. Shout out, she was a great player. I've played with Ellen from Baby Beard Media, another great player. And yeah, man, we're living in a world now where it's obviously like if you guys look at my YouTube analytics, it's like 99% dudes for everything. Podcasts, YouTube, everything. All my everything just says 99% dudes. And that's just the way it is right now with gaming and stuff like that. But I'm glad to see that women are out there enjoying these communities, being able to be welcomed in them, and playing games that they enjoy playing without having to feel like they're alienated or feel like that they don't belong. Because I don't want that for anybody. I don't care if they're a man, woman, or whatever. I don't want anybody to feel like they don't belong. This is a game for everybody. It's a game for anybody, and they all should have the opportunities to play if they need to. Hold on one second, guys. So yeah, but it's fine. I visualize Cyberpunk Red as an action movie like The Matrix. Yeah, it's I've they've even said Cyberpunk is like a comic book action movie. And if you take that into account, then a lot of things make more sense. For what it's worth, do you think selling your soul should get you more money during character creation? Yeah, why not? I think money isn't everything, and that's one big thing that's one takeaway I got from my conversation with James is it's not all about money. It's also about trading of goods and services as well. So if I have a gun and I have the skill to use this gun, it might be worth more than whatever amount of eddies that are out there. So having a safe place to live, having food security, job security, these are all important things that are more important than money. Money is obviously a big factor because think about what money is. Money is proof that someone is compensating you for whatever for work or something you're transforming your work hours into some sort of contract that you can universally use all around the world to get food, water, shelter, whatever you need to be happy and survive. So you can do the same thing with other stuff, trading goods and services. Flying kick narratively and using the flying special move flying kick. Yeah, I don't like the whole special move idea of martial arts. Bog Dweller, what's going on? Flubba, what's up, dude? I miss you, man. I hope you're doing well. Hope everything is good, buddy. Yeah, the idea of special moves is very video gamey and 1990s martial arts stuff. So that's what I have a problem with. Eric R. recently house ruled that melee weapon damage stacks with body hand to hand damage. Otherwise, katanas always do 3d6 or whatever, while a punch from a full Borg does like 4d6. Yeah, that's cool. That's fun. I understand if you want to do that. I don't mind the way that martial arts and stuff is. Melee weapons and stuff. The most dangerous martial arts gun. Or just be like Jackie and kick some heads off. Exactly. Now for the most dangerous spell of all, pulls out gun, bop, bop, bop. Money is second form of experience. Net running feels like a little bit of a one-on-one show with the GM. Do you have any tips to make it more exciting for everyone in and out of combat? Yeah, make sure that there's things that happen in the net run that benefit everybody. Like taking control of the cameras or doors is something that all the players can benefit from. So if the players are like, we want to get more information about that locked room over there, then they need the netrunner to get access for the cameras. So as a game master, you want to make sure that you provide opportunities. What time is it? Sorry, just looking at my. Let me just trying to look at my. Okay, just want to see the time. So yeah, as a game master, you want to make sure you provide opportunities for your netrunner to do cool things that will be able to benefit the entire party and not just killing black ice and stuff like that. The black ice are supposed to be there to keep your netrunner out. Isn't supposed to feel like it's supposed to feel whatever you want it to feel like. But the idea is that if you want your why should the you should ask the question, why is he net running in the first place? What does it benefit? What is a good thing about doing it? Is it just for the sake of net running? Then it needs to be more interesting than that, because your other players will be like, oh, okay, I guess it's not my turn now, so who cares? But if they're like, oh man, I hope that Netrunner succeeds because if he does, then I can do this, this, and this on my turn, or this, and that on that turn, and this enemy will be disabled, and that door will be open, or whatever. So you want to be able to provide cool stuff. When I'm doing that helps get the feel is modifiers that relate to the martial art. Wrestling gets +4 grappling, and say a +4 for kicks from Muay Thai. Yeah, that's actually exactly how they did it in Cyberpunk 2020. Is some martial arts were just better at doing certain things than other ones. I thought it was okay, but just assigning like a +2 to kick, I don't think tells a full story. Like a knee from a Muay Thai master or a knee from a karate guy. Like, yeah, the Muay Thai guy trains in knees more, but a knee to the head is going to hurt no matter what. I mean, is it going to hurt more from the Muay Thai guy? Yeah, because he knows exactly how to do the knee for it to be maximum damage. But you're not going to have a good day if a karate master knees you in the head either. It's not going to be a good day. Or if anybody, an untrained big dude, knees you in your forehead or the side of your head. I mean, you're not going to be like, thank God he wasn't a fucking Muay Thai guy. You're going to be like, where's the nearest hospital? I'm going to die. Would you allow your netrunner to program and create their own stuff? Yep. A player in my future game wanted to make his own programs, couldn't figure out how to raw. Yeah. All right, DG. See you later, buddy. I love you, man. We'll see you this Thursday to play some Starfinder. Yeah, in what is it called? Raish Bartmoss Brainware Blowout. It's a supplement for Cyberpunk 2020. There were rules there where you can build your own programs. I highly recommend using that. But basically, the gist of it is you take your interface plus intelligence plus 1d10 and you roll a number and you have to beat you. Okay, sorry. Let me back up. So you tell your game master what you want the program to do. Then the game master decides how difficult would that be to write that program, and they come up with a DV number in their head. Let's say it's 17 or 20. Then the player has to roll 1d10 plus his intelligence plus his interface, and if he beats your number, then he creates the program that he wanted to create. If he doesn't, then the program that he creates doesn't do what he wants it to do. It has errors. It needs to be bugged, fixed, and blah blah blah. So that's how you would do it. All right, Glenn. See you later, man. Take care. I really appreciate the support, dude. Take care. I've always had females at my game table. 20 years of playing, and it's more rare than when there's not a female at the table. Interesting. The year for the first time I ran my Hero Academia campaign for my daughter, and there were no dudes at the table. That's cool that you got your daughter into it too. Yeah, man, it's good to see that. It's for everybody. The game's for everybody, so everybody should be able to play. Thoughts on the crit damage to people in the car, no matter what they hit. I understand if you crash into something to a halt, but running someone over, crashing through something, etc., and the car keeps its momentum, the whiplash don't make sense. Crit damage to people in the car no matter what they hit. I guess the idea is that something happened in between their wanting them to attack and the vehicle getting hit, that they somehow got a collapsed lung or a broken rib or severed hand or whatever. And it's really up to you as a game master to try to figure out how that happened. I understand there's some ways that's not really possible, and you probably just have to make a judgment call. You know what I mean? Like there was one time where my player was like, let's drive up really close to the other vehicle. I'm going to pop out of the passenger side window and I'm going to hit the driver with my baseball bat. He didn't call a called shot, but the only area available to him to hit is the upper body and head. So I determined, like, yeah, you hit him in the head, even though he didn't do an aimed shot to the head, which is the only way you can target the head, rules as written. I did a judgment call, and I'm like, his body's not exposed. You can't hit his legs. You can maybe hit his arm, but you can't hit his legs. So, you know, either you're either he puts his arm up to defend the window like I'm doing right here, and you hit his arm, and then the critical injuries to his arm, or he's got both hands on the wheel, he gets hit in the head, and you do some kind of critical injury for the head. So you got to make a judgment call. Is clickety clackety I roll to do hackety an acceptable way to net run? Sure. Just like being sneaky is snippety snoop, it's time to snoop. Snippety boop, spoop, it's time to snoop. I like that. Yeah, why not? As long as it has to rhyme, though, like the way you guys said it, clickety clackety, I roll to do hackety. That works because it rhymes. We hit a man-sized kangaroo full on and zeroed it. We got a bit shook, but that's it. The time we hit a pole that hurt, so the whiplash thing bugs me. Thanks for the thoughts. Yeah, the whole idea of everybody gets hurt if you hit something. Um, I didn't like it either. We had a game with Baby Beard Media in my latest corporate infestation, where I told Ellen, I was like, "Hey, why don't you?" She was the nomad driving the vehicle. I said, I don't usually recommend something for my players to do, but I think this would be really cool. What if you ran over these dudes with your car? And she said, I already thought about that in the past. And rules as written, we would all take the whiplash critical injury, which think about what that means. That means all of us take 5 HP damage straight to our HP, and we get -1 to our death save. Is it a good trade to do 6d6 worth of damage? I think so. But is it realistic that everybody in the car gets hurt? No. But then again, now the Nomad is the most powerful class in the game because they could just go around driving around running people over. They're like the only person that has a vehicle, and they're just driving around doing 66 damage to everybody. 6d6 to you, 6d6 to you. I have a 25 move in my vehicle, so I'm just doing laps around the battlefield and just doing 66 damage to everybody. That's what will happen. So to counteract that, they're like, okay, every time you hit somebody, you take 5 damage directly to your HP. It's a balance thing. It makes sense in that sense, but yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's not realistic and it doesn't feel right, but yeah, that's what it is. Been GMing a campaign for some friends, and as a first timer, your content is so helpful. Keep it up, dude. You got it, Portals42. Anytime, man. I'm having a blast doing it, so I love it. And I really, really appreciate the support and the kind words. Happy gaming, dude. What are your thoughts on animals in red? Love it. In my campaign, I plan on having both wild natural animals and Biotechnica synth animal hybrid creatures. Yeah, in our Amber Oasis game, all the animals that you'll see in the wilderness are reintroduced by Biotechnica. So I don't know if this is rules as written. They kind of talked about it in lore, but that Biotechnica has done some kind of like DNA experimentation on wildlife to try to bring them back into the fold. So my idea has been that Biotechnica has reintroduced wolves and deer and bears and salmon and all kinds of animals back into the wilderness, especially now that a lot of people are gone. And the side effect of that is I don't know if you guys have seen that video where they reintroduced wolves to an area and that caused a chain reaction of like now there's more of this animal and that animal and blah blah blah. It like caused like a crazy chain reaction. But and it was a lot of stuff that they couldn't plan for either. So in my idea, I felt like, okay, Biotechnica reintroduced all these animals and stuff like that, but they didn't take into account some of the things that happen in nature. And also, their experiments weren't 100% reliable. So you got these wolves that do things that wolves didn't do back in the day, or bears doing things that they normally wouldn't have done. These are new bears, new wolves, and they do things completely differently now. What if wolves were like what if bears were like pack animals now, and they had an alpha bear, and they had bears that they hunt with together? I mean, that's fucking terrifying. A group of 20 bears going around hunting people using hunting tactics like a wolf. That's fucking terrifying. So I wanted to introduce that kind of stuff to our world with where Biotechnica was like, yeah, let's just put bears in there. And then it's like, whoops, they're behaving in ways that we didn't predict. Uh-oh, we totally fucked up the ecosystem. Oh well, and that's it. Yellowstone, the wolves stabilized the river flow. Exactly, exactly. That's what it was. Better Amazon initiative. I like that. I remember that Biotechnica made hybrids like deer with enhanced defenses or pteroraptors, which are like hawk lizards. Yeah, yeah, stuff like that. Why not? Add some fun things. Sniper rifle ranges make them almost. Oh, but by the way, I'm gonna make sure that you can shoot a bear, you can shoot a wolf, they'll die. There isn't gonna be like, you know, SP or anything like. You shoot a bear with a high caliber gun, you'd probably have to shoot it a bunch of times for it to die. You shoot a wolf with a high caliber gun once, it's dead. I mean, it's dead. So that's how I would have it in my game. Sniper rifle ranges make them almost useless for most ranges represented on the battle map. Do you think that's balanced, or would you suggest ways to make them more useful? No, that is completely balanced. Think about having a gun where its effective range is so far out of every other gun's effective range that you can basically just hang out all the way in the back of the battle map, and or maybe off the battle map. You'd have to like X Stout is saying, you would have to like do kind of theater of the mind and say you're not on the map, but you're this many meters away, and we can't see you on the map, but you're that many meters away, and just have it done that way. What are some of the coolest items tech can make? Man, name it. We could sit here all day. Give you an example. Jackie, or sorry, not Jackie. Barry Ruth from my Wise Guys campaign has a baseball bat, and in the handle of the baseball bat, there's a little spot where he can hide a grenade, and the end of the baseball bat has a rotating saw blade. So what does that translate to? He ablates armor by 2. It's armor piercing, and he can, as a free action, throw a grenade on his turn. Not a free action, but as an action, he doesn't have to like put away his baseball bat and pull out a grenade. He can just use a grenade on his turn. Another one, Sam Ectoplasm. He made his guitar into a flamethrower that has an axe blade at the bottom of it. So one end is a flamethrower. It's a ranged weapon that is a flamethrower like the exotic weapon, and on the other end is a heavy melee weapon that he can use as an axe blade. So his guitar is both things. You can do whatever you want, man. There's so many cool things. All rules as written too. IDM for D&D. I've ran a little bit of 2020. Any tips before I run a red one shot next week? Yeah, unlearn everything you knew about 2020. Red is a completely different game. Move things forward. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't over prepare. And rule of cool. All right. If it's cool, let your players do it. Forget about the rules. Make the rules up as you go. That's my number one advice. Do you think you would be able to make a video explaining how to balance some of the old Chromebooks to be used in red? Yeah, Sean, I've been thinking of doing something like that. I've been thinking of making some videos like that. It's just, it would essentially be like top 10 items from Chromebook 1. And so far, I've stayed away from those types of videos. I know that those are high view count videos. Like, those are things that a lot of YouTube creators do to get high view count. But if I wanted to do things for view count, then my channel would be completely different. I do things that interest me, and if I think that they're helpful and fun, then I do them. So I do think the Chromebook conversions and stuff are fun. It's just like all the way on the bottom of my list of stuff that I want to do. So I might do it in the future, though. Who knows? I reinvent the spork. An assault rifle IRL has a standard engagement range of 100 to 300 meters. 90% of the video games don't even accommodate these ranges properly aside from Arma. Yeah, for sure. If you're into gun porn, Cyberpunk Red is not your game, in my opinion. I just finished listening to that downtime episode. I want to see the new tech upgraded weapons in use. Yeah, me too, Daniel. We're going to ramp up the campaign soon, so we'll see how that goes. I'm really excited to see that too. Please don't make top 10 videos. I know, Jacob. I'm completely against it. Not completely, but I don't know, man. That's just not what my channel's about. If I wanted to, I could just like churn out low quality videos at all times, but I like I have a concept, I write my notes, I do my research, I make an outline, and I really it takes me a hot minute to make a video because I want it to be a well thought out video and not just something that collects view counts, you know. Could I make money that way? Yeah, of course. I mean, I could make money that way, but I mean, I don't need to survive off my YouTube, so it's all good. Yeah, anytime, Sean. Do you feel the current rules for armor ablation stretches combat out longer than it needs to be? Personally, house rule that you only need to do over half armor SP to ablade it. No, I think it's fine the way it is because there's plenty of ways to ablade armor. Melee combat is a big part of it. AP rounds, AP grenades. There's so many ways to ablade armor. I think it's okay. I think that if they're taking out all the crunch of like hit locations and stuff like that and stun saves, keeping the armor ablation crunch was a good idea in my opinion. Top 10 top gets the click but loses the credibility. Exactly. And what's Cyberpunk all about? Reputation, baby. Hey, make bank where you can if you can earn from top 10 vids. Nah, it's not. First of all, it's not going to make bank. It's only going to make a small amount of money. And second of all, like X'd Out said, was it X'd Out? Yeah, like X'd Out said, then I'll have the reputation of being somebody that makes those types of videos. Um, I'll tell you guys, man, I had a conversation with a influencer, as he called himself, which made me cringe a little bit. But he's like a YouTuber guy that I look up to and have looked up to for a long time. And when I had my conversation with him, you can tell that he's like he's tired of doing it. He doesn't like doing it, and he would rather be doing something else. But he pigeonholed himself into being that kind of YouTuber that makes top 10 videos, that makes you know top 5 cleric spells and like does shit like that, and he doesn't like it. He wishes he can't do it, but the problem is he's pigeonholed himself as that kind of creator. He has a team around him that all expect his videos to do well, so he's forced to make those kinds of videos in addition to the ones that he likes to make. So I'd never want to put myself in that position where I'm forced to make a video because I know that that's what sells or whatever. I'm not that type of guy. This is my hobby. I'm doing everything for fun. And if it's not fun and I'm not having a good time, I'm not going to do it. And that's when I'll stop doing it. But so far, so good. And you guys have been really supportive. All right, Twiggy, love you, man. Thank you so much.